Greetings. We are back once again to Torment Tides of Numenera. I'm Jim, and I have no idea where we left off, so we're gonna find out now. How long do I have today? An hour or two. We'll do stuff. When you sleep, your might, speed, and intellect pools are fully refilled. However, events can progress while you sleep, changing the status of quests. That's true. I have slept rather a lot. Things might have happened. And that was something that I completely ignored in earlier parts of the game. So, we'll see if there are any changes at this point, but I don't think there is. Should we tell them how they can get inside? Is that something? No, we can't do that, because we can't interact with them aside from getting flavor text, I'm quite sure. But I'll go up and say hi. So this contains already been scavenged for anything valuable. Yeah, I haven't seen those two dudes. Stop harassing Jan. What? Are they coming for me? I don't know. I've forgotten everything. It's cold, buzzing and the humming. It's like a voice in my head. Now just flesh is here. Flesh. Ah, yes. For those of you just joining us, we're inside a massive thing of flesh. Oh yeah, I remember talking to that person last time and the decanted and finding out kind of what they do and trying to decide if I'm going to try to ignore that to finish the quest or if I'm going to go ahead and find a way to sentence the final person to beheading. Don't know. Don't know. They poisoned people, so I mean...
Alright.
Poisoning? Is that what it was? I can't actually remember exactly what it was. Who knows? I certainly don't. Okay. What am I doing? Should remember what I'm doing. I shall look at the list of quests in the journal, and that will remind me what I am doing. Finding a mod that leads to the trade post, that's the thing. Ah, yes, I remember now. Okay, we went into, yeah, we had a merecaster. We went into the mirror last time. And, I feel as though we failed miserably, so I thought perhaps we should try it again. That's what's happening. Okay. I remember now! Okay. Because it's like, it's, sometimes, have I ever honestly known what I was doing? I mean... No, not really. I don't think there has ever been a time. There hasn't ever been a time when I have truly known what it is that is happening or what I am doing. But... One could say that of the universe itself, really. Does anyone know truly what they're doing, or are they just making it up as they go along, I ask you? I don't know. Is there a plan? This is a compass. It is worth quite a lot of shins. I'm wondering if we might end up using it for something later. Who knows? I guess we're going to go into the mirror again. And we'll see if we can make better choices this time. Ah, no way to access it again. That means we have to use the power of restoring the game. I think try again was the last place I saved, is like a just in case. 139 versus 212. Yeah, I think this was when I jumped in, just before I jumped into the thing. So we're going to reload that last one before then, so that we can try again. I feel as though there's a way to get that done. All right. A sour thirst immediately overtakes you, nameless and persistent. Your hands shake, your throat is dry, drier than sun-bleached stones. Yes, here we go. Alright. Pull of the mirror within this device slices like a polished, shining knife through the wretched cravings clutching at your throat. Inspect the merecaster. One drink, one taste will help me think. Why suffer? Shouldn't I? Why shouldn't I have what I want? I want this. I deserve this. Let's go in. Now, round two. We're doing... Okay. First thing you notice is the stifling heat. The dry air feels like it's sucking the life right out of you. Someone's speaking. Okay, it's all just sort of low-level stuff. Okay. You stand in the middle of a crowded street. An enormous blue dome towers in the distance, overcrowded city and... clay and synth steel buildings. The dome shimmers as the sunlight dances across its surface. Dark men and women jostle past you in brightly colored robes, picking up dust clouds as they go. The dust glitters gold and silver, but it's just dust, and it's making you cough. The beggar sits at your feet, her robes far grungier than those of the crowd. It was mostly getting past the robot. I remember now that dealing with the robot. I mean, should we avoid this person altogether this time? I don't think that's going to... I don't know if that's going to help us. We can give it a try, though. We're early on. Basically, we're remembering the story here. It's the former officer never got an answer why we were taken out of the first militia, and we have a metal hand and electronic eye, a dead power core. I'm gonna try saying my business is none of yours just to see what happens. Your exile is obvious. Same script. Exile is obvious enough from your uniform. Torn patches of dead giveaway. Surprised you still wear it. I have a job for someone like you. I need your help to sneak into the oasis. If we turn the job down, does that actually do anything? Forget it. And offer shins as well. Not now, obviously, once I'm inside. Please, I'll do anything, but I can't do this without you. No, it's too risky. I'm just trying to get by. Farewell. You continue down the road, or please, bouncing off your back. Time speeds forward in the way dreams sometimes do. Gervaux Town is the same the next day in all but shades and shadows. Rumors circulates of a thwarted theft in the menagerie of 2 prisoners, one dead, one imprisoned, but they are only rumors. Your path takes you past Neem's street once more. She's gone. Nobody knows where she went. Hardly anyone even knows her name. No rumors circulate when a beggar disappears after all. She may as well have never existed. And that's it. That was very short mirror. We got nothing from that. Just out of curiosity, will it let us in again, or do I need to restore the game? Nope, we're gonna restore the game. Okay. I just had to see what happened. And what happened was nothing. Now we shall follow this the blue spinning disc until the end of time. It is a complete circle. There is no escape from it. The center of the circle is a dark abyss into which all time plunges. There we go. All right. Let's try that again. In we go. Okay, try to remember. I was exiled, I don't know why. Details your past are none of my business, your exile is obvious, blah 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 blah. Why do you want to get in so badly? Remember, we did this last time, so I'm not going to be reading out all the text necessarily for this one right now. But I'm just sort of trying to look at enough so that I remember vaguely what the deal is. Breathing water, yes. Seeking for money here in Jerboa, spending a day in Raolios whenever I have enough to scrape together. It's not enough. Why do you need to sneak into the oasis? First time I see, yes, I have to sneak in. Handful of shins I can play a tourist for a day. Believe me, I do whenever I can. I need to live there to be part of their waters, but the givers make it difficult. They place heavy restrictions on who can emigrate. They patrol the borders and monitor the air skin bracelets sold in Jerboa. You must have connections and money to let you in. So you can go in and defect? Is that sort of the idea? There's more trouble than it's worth for them to seek out every illegal air breather who slips through their net. It's only the net that is the problem. Do you have a plan? The tour groups are the way in. It's an underwater museum. It's so crowded the guides simply hang out at the entrance. Together with the group, slip away, hide ourselves until nightfall. Alright, this sounds dangerous. What's in it for me? You're on the first side. You'll be amazed what you hear, even on the streets. I know a thing or two, including something very interesting about your militia that's worth the risk. So we're trying to find this out, I think, because that will perhaps, whatever that information is, will help us now. Alright, I'll help you. Thank you. For a man of your skills, this will be easy. I promised you can get what you need. I'll meet you in the gates in an hour. She gets up and practically floats away. Finding the gates of the oasis is simple. All roads radiate from the dome like a hub. Energy net shimmers just inside the waters. Okay, we're going through. We have a bracelet slapped on our wrist. Ready, let's go. And here we are once again. Stepping into the oasis is surprising. There's no shield or force holding the waters. You walk into them like you might walk into the sea. Inside, the tour guide takes you all over the massive city, through the sunken market, an underwater park, government square. Neem was right, she doesn't let you out of her sight once. Finally, you arrive at the menagerie. It's just as crowded as Neem said it would be, filled with creatures and curios, as though it can't decide whether it's a museum or a zoo. It's almost overwhelming. You don't know what to look at first. Remember why we are here. Okay. Looking around, amulet made of several concentric circles. The thick cord is attached to the outer circle. Does not appear to pass through the other rings. Talisman of Skorgil. Myth says it belonged to a legendary Baji, believed a prophet of Nykul by the Givra, and a deity by some Jerboans. Its true origins are unknown, but it has belonged to the Gyash, the ruling council of the Oasis, for several centuries. Okay. Examine the dangerous-looking water creatures. Lorubs. Lorubs, nearly twice as long as man is tall, two front flippers and a narrow tooth-filled mouth. No visible field between you and them. Your tourists are walking, floating there, tossing in treats they have purchased, which the lords snap up greedily. Their habitat resembles rocky shoals with several holes and hollows for the lords to hide in. Okay. The field that separates the lorbs from the tourists must not extend to the air pocket above because tourists are reaching right through to toss in their treats. It would be a simple thing to jump in when nobody's looking, and of course then the lorbs would likely tear you to shreds. Imprisoned fire creatures. Ground is black like obsidian, glowing red nodules here and there. The air in their cell shimmers like a summer day, though you can feel no warmth from where you are. Plaque says these creatures are commonly called fire wights or flame souls. They are made of neither fire nor spirit. The Aeon priests call them Nakals. The creatures feed on water and the life force of living creatures, says the plaque. In their natural habitat, they can control and shape magma into impossible architectures. They see temperatures, not light, and so the tourists are nearly invisible to them. It's just like in that other mirror. Despite what the plaque says, you are certain they are watching you. Closer look at the construct near the door, which is going to kick our ass shortly. The construct's armor is pitted and scarred, bursting with metal thorns on all sides. Instead of arms, it has long killing blades, sharpened to a gleaming edge. It appears to be inactive, completely oblivious to you or anything in the menagerie. A feeling of intense loathing rises, unbidden, as you look upon it. These are not your feelings, you realize, but a visceral response of the person whose body you're in. Watch the crowd of tourists. Scores of tourists meander through the menagerie's corridors. The vast majority of them are human, but there are several Gibra and other water-breathing races as well. A soft current seems to carry them from one exhibit to the next. You can feel the pull of the current yourself, though it's trivial to resist it. One tourist hovers to one side, dressed in colorful robes and seemingly more interested in the tourists themselves. His gaze moves back and forth across the crowds, but never on any of the exhibits themselves. Of course, he's simply doing what you are, but what is his reason for observing? We will talk to the robed figure, because... stuff! Okay, yes, right. The tall, thin man appears to have glowing runes orbiting his head. He wears dark, finely embroidered robes and a short cape, primarily made up of blues and purples. He seems intent, though you can't quite discern about what. When you gain his attention, it feels almost as if he is mentally cataloging the details of your appearance. He glances at me behind you. The beggar and the Castoff. What does he do now with this one? How do you know us? Yeah, we observe stuff. We know who you are. We can guess what you're doing here. Nothing to fear. I notice you're watching the tourists, not the exhibits. Why? Our answer is the same as yours, Seeker. You wish to free yourselves from those who watch. He glances at the doorway where the Gibra tour guides talk amongst themselves while the tourists enjoy the menagerie. This one is Duskwatcher Yarmid. This one, meaning himself, is Duskwatcher Yarmid, an eye of the Brotherhood of the Chronicle. It's our purpose to witness and record pivotal events in history. We believe one such event is soon to occur, but alas, this one fears the event will be missed. The curators of this place are ever watchful. Okay? Tell me about them. Sorry to explain, but we'll attempt to expound. It is our purpose to witness and record pivotal events as they occur. This one is an eye and a Duskwatcher, tasked with observing tragic events or individuals with darker inclinations. Couldn't be us. Couldn't. The eye will observe, then relay information through the brain to the hands for a transcription into the Brotherhood's records. What was it? There might be Giant song in there somewhere about moving the impulse from one place to another. I'm remembering something, but it's What event are you waiting to witness? We cannot speak of the event itself. This one's purpose is to observe only, not to alter. Suffice it to say it is tragic, or will likely be so. However it plays out, its effects will ripple throughout history. Because it knows what's happening. You seek to hide yourselves until nightfall. This one seeks the same. It knows a way we can hide together with little risk. In exchange for this information and your willingness to hide, with this one, the Brotherhood permits this one to answer a single question. Won't the demon spot us more easily? Perhaps. We must take that into consideration, of course. Why would I want you to answer a question? Records are extensive. We are capable of answering any question within our records, and are even able to predict the course of events over the short term. The answers of the Brotherhood can be of great value. I'm going to go ahead and make this deal again. How can we succeed? That might be a good question to ask, but I want to ask how the sorrow can be stopped this time. Last time we asked where is the first cast-off, and the answer we got was kind of a non-answer. How can the sorrow be stopped? Neem looks at you strangely, obviously not understanding your question. Yarmid is nonplussed. He closes his eyes in thought, then opens them and says, "We know of the sorrow, though its forging was long before the foundation of the Brotherhood. There is nothing in our records that can indicate what might stop such a creature." Oh, great! Another non-answer. Okay, he bows. "Forgive us, please. You may ask something else." Okay, that's something anyway. How can we succeed tonight? You must hide yourselves, and you must escape the demon. The second part of your task is the most difficult. He drops his chin to his chest, lowering his voice so much that you have to lean in to hear him. The demon is your greatest danger. This one's advice is to run, but not until you have hindered its ability to follow. You have the skills. If you do this, you will succeed. He lifts his head again. The code of the order prevents this one from helping with the second part of your task. However, this one can help with the first part. Alright. That's at least affirmation about a plan here. He points his chin at the tank of dangerous-looking creatures. The Lorab's cell is large, with several places for all of us to hide until nightfall. Unfortunately, the Lorabs themselves would destroy any air breather foolish enough to step into their habitat. He nods at Neem. You have a gift, however. Your Numenera enables you to match any pitch and timbre. Listen to the Lorabs. You will find that emulating their song is enough for them to leave you alone. If you hide in there, this one will see and find a way to join you. He brings his hand up to his face, making a strange gesture with his fingers. This one is grateful for any assistance you choose to provide. Farewell for now. I am watching, Seeker. If you follow my advice, I will join you. Alright, let's take a stroll around, look for around the building, looking for a good hiding place. The menagerie is much larger than it looked from the entrance. There are smaller curios and cells located everywhere, including all the way at the back. There's even a cell that the plaque says was once used as a prison for air breathers who broke Raolios' most sacred laws. The cell is filled with air. It is empty and dark. It would make the perfect place to hide if you could gain access. There is a hatch that leads into it, tucked away in a dark back hallway, but the hatch is made of thick, heavy synth steel. You'd have to break the latch to get in. Let's do that. $70's not bad. Success! The lock is complex, like nothing a human has ever built, but after working at it for several minutes, you finally hear a satisfying click from within the door. The latch turns and you shove it open. You and Neem slip into the surprisingly warm air of the cell and close the hatch behind you. Ah! Then it's just a matter of waiting for nightfall. Hours pass. Tourists and tour guides leave one by one. The guides don't seem to keep track of who they brought, acting only as chaperones for tourists who wish to return. The remainder are accompanied out at sunset. The menagerie is dark and empty. Sunlight had been filtering in from translucent rocks in the ceiling is now gone. Only a few fish and rocks still light the room. You emerge from your hiding place, moving as quietly as possible, but as soon as you reach the main corridor, a metallic voice carries from the direction of the front entrance. Did you think I would not see, would not know? You will die here tonight. You see the demon around the corner, a construct bristling with spikes and blades. It doesn't seem to have seen you yet, but it knows you are here, and it is blocking the exit. You have a beam lance bracer on your forearm, but you suddenly wonder if that will be enough. So we're gonna attack with the beam lance, or try to. Hopefully that will hinder it enough. You take aim and blast it in the shoulder. It reels back, sparks and debris flying from it in all directions, then hovering in the water around it. It's wounded, but not enough to slow it down. Before you can react, the demon fires a blast of energy that causes the water surrounding you to burn like fire. You scream in agony. When your vision returns, Neem is still next to you, breathing heavily with her airskin bracelet. It doesn't look like she could take another hit like that. Even you could only survive a short while longer. I guess we'll do it again. You blast it in the waist. It doubles over more shards of gleaming metal dancing away in the dark water. When it comes back up, there's a gaping hole in its armor. If you're lucky, one more shot there will finish it off. Neem is dead. Dang it! I guess we should have tried to disable it using melee weapons, which is... We're not great at that, but we do have some. Try to run past it. You fire a lance to its left to drive it away. It works. The demon avoids the blast, leaving the gap between you and the exit. You swim for it, but the demon appears in front of you with metallic laughter. The demon fires another blast from its gun. You kick off the stone walls. The rock melts into slag. Suddenly the demon's right in front of you, blades whirling. Okay, that didn't work out. You try to change direction, but you are too weak. As blade slices through your skull, you realize the demon intended for you to dodge its first blast. Menagerie goes black. Pain extending far too long. Finally, a new pain joins it, wrenching your gut. It pulls you back in your own body. Damn it! Okay. Well, guess what? We're gonna take another crack at it. This time I'm just going to click through. I'm not even going to read anything. I will not be defeated! Or rather, I have been defeated twice already. We're going for a third. We'll see what happens. We will make this work! I shall bend reality to my will. I shall rewind time as often as it takes. Okay. Now we're going to sing that old familiar tune where we look into the mirror. And we go into the mirror. And then stuff happens. Just a few sheets. Okay. Now try to remember.
Come on, can you spare some? Just a few sheets.
Sure, tell them. Why do you have a plan? That sounds dangerous. Alright. We're going to continue now. Great, let's go. Okay. Examine stuff. Examine stuff. Does examining stuff again do anything except just give us the same thing? No, it just gives us the same thing. Fire people. I keep thinking the fire prisoners were gonna do something, but I don't know. Maybe we just haven't gotten that far. Look at this construct. Watch the crowd. Talk to the robed figure. How do you know us? Notice you're watching. Why? Tell me about the Brotherhood. What event are you waiting for? 92 this is dangerous. Why would I want you to answer a question? Okay. So we asked how can we succeed. We asked how can the sorrow be stopped. We've asked where's the first cast-off. What event are you here to witness specifically? Yarmid raises an eyebrow. A clever question. We are permitted to relay some of the information for this purpose alone. However, we must request that you not act on this knowledge. Yes, sure, you can trust me. His gaze slides off of you over your shoulder. Two of your kin intend to steal the Talisman of Scorn. It is unknown whether they will succeed or what will become of them. In either case, we believe this event will lead only to tragedy, which is why this Dusk Watcher is here to witness. The nature of that tragedy and its effects on the future are important to have on record. He looks at you again. We regret we cannot relate more. This one, how it can, however, aid you with your current task. Alright. Alright, good. Hiding place. Unlock hatch. 70%. Continue. Continue. And it's demon time. Okay. Attacking with the beam lance, I had to have like 3... I had to do like 3 of these things. I'm going to try to use the sword this time. And see if that works better. I am terrible at this, but I am going to give it as much as I possibly can. Which is 70%. Although you never learned how to take down an automaton, you find this body knows easily what to do. You get closer to the demon, feinting an attack to its head. When it blocks this critical spot, you bring your blade back against its side, slicing through critical wires and actuators. The demon makes a guttural noise, possibly a curse. Its body jerks and shivers against its will. It's not dead, but it will have trouble retaliating now. Excellent. Now we will run past it. I hope. Okay, you fire a blast to one side of the demon, trying to drive it away. It works. The demon avoids it, leaving a gap between you and the exit. You swim for it. The demon tries to cut you off, but its body no longer responds as smoothly as it once did. You swim past it into the night. It curses, but does not, perhaps cannot, follow. Excellent. Yay! We made it! Stars and a full moon shimmer above you from outside the dome of the oasis. Just going to look at this real quick, just to make it okay. Shadowy mountains rise in the far distance at the edge of the valley. Below you, the rest of Mraholios is a black expanse. Neem snaps off her bracelet and breathes deep of the waters. Thank you, she says, her voice even clearer now without the air skin. She puts a hand on your cheek and whispers, I owe you more than you know. It's not much, but I know something that might help you. Your commander, Paj Reckon, is not what she appears. There's something else pulling the strings above her. Okay. She shrugs, embarrassed. That's all I have to give you, I'm sorry. Maybe you can use it somehow. She darts forward and kisses you on the cheek, then swims off into the inky black. You make your own way down to the surface. As you do, you notice 2 shadowy figures flying through the water above you. The moon's reflection shines on them for a brief moment, and you catch a glimpse of 2 cast-off tattoos and an artificial eye. Mass-off? The figures disappear into the menagerie. Any thoughts of following them are quickly snuffed out as something tugs painfully at your gut. Within seconds, Mraholios fades away for good. Well, there we go. I am not sure what we learned from that, but there it is. We were successful. And we did learn more things about the history of the whole thing. So that's cool. Of course, now we're going to have to decide if we want to sleep before doing the next mirror, because we have one more merecaster to look into. Second merecaster. Do we need to refresh ourselves? I mean, I worry now about the consequences of sleeping too much, but we shall see, we shall see. I mean, just do it.
All right.
Let's hope not too much time is passing. Let's see. The astronomical merecaster. Let's dive in, shall we? Filled with ingenious clockwork mechanisms, Cobalt Orrery depicts a solar system far different from your own. Okay, yes, I remember this. As soon as you place this device in the palm of your hand, the stately dance of the clockwork planets mounted upon it becomes a frantic spinning reel. In the heart of the thing, a contemplative hum grows, as though the machine itself were studying the path of the planets above it. Listening, you hear shadows of words within that sound, speaking of the mirror within this device. Inspect it. You study the whirl of the planets in your palm. Your eyes might be deceiving you, but it does seem as though some of the orbs are slightly transparent, and that tinier planets are orbiting within them. It's like pseudo, damn it. There's a word I'm looking for. It's where we get the idea of the spheres of the firmament from. It's not the celestial spheres. I'm looking for Ptolemy. Yes, it's the Ptolemaic. Yeah, I think we're talking about Ptolemy. Primarily, I mean, bunches of folks that put that forward, but yeah, I think it's the Ptolemaic model. I think was what I'm thinking of here. So pseudo-Ptolemaic. And in we go. Recursive? Perhaps. Ah! Oh, hey. Blue. Once you had 24 words for all its hues and shades. Metaphors to glaives' capes and courtesans' eyes. Now the sky is just blue. The ground is stone, the man before you fat. Now all is vague and drab like... The memorialist sees you've stopped, and he halts as well. Let's have a rest, then, he says, passing you a bottle of fortified water as he catches his breath. Ptolemy had spheres of movement inside spheres of movement. Ah, okay, cool. You knew a word for that, too. This drink they brew in the Valley of Dead Heroes. Gone. We aren't far from his cenotaph. The Batman wipes his brow. Despite your pockets, deep in your pocket, your hand feels for the round tin that holds the worms. Your fingers clutch it tight. As they do, they brush a piece of paper. And as they do, they brush a piece of paper. Okay. Are you a shadow? The memorialist asks abruptly. Kalaghat Anvor, I mean. The one you came to see. Without waiting for a response, he barrels onward. We thought he'd cast his shadows among his own kind. We reasoned that with the Tabat gone, his line was lost forever. He stops and flushes more deeply, then hastily with a sign, with a sign? It says, not with a sigh, it says with a sign. Adds, but shadows fall where they will, as they will. So he holds up a piece of paper. Kalaghat, Anvor, Tabat, shadows. They flit around the edges of your mind, escaping your grasp. But the worms, they are well within reach. I feel as though this person may have a drug problem. Shall we continue, Pilgrim? The memorialist asks to break the silence. One more short hike will do it. Your body is ready. Your mind is not. Kalaghat, Anvor, shadows, Tabat. Examine the paper in your pocket. Examine the tin in your pocket. I'm going to examine the paper. You slip the crisp, neatly folded sheet from your pocket and carefully open it. I will want the worms, but I will be strong. I will wonder what I have lost, but they will only rob me further. I will endure, and I will build the tower of my intellect anew. Kalaghat Anvor will furnish the material. The mind link, not the worms, will be my tool. The mind link. A dead-eyed trader from Harif sold it for the last of your once great heap of prizes and bounties. Now it's slung from your belt, a hideous mask with a synth tube hanging off it, like some Satoshi tentacle. Examine the tin. The tin is odd and unremarkable, scuffed and dented, but sturdy enough. It opens easily. Inside is a clump of bristly worms. Blind and thin, barely moving. Your fingers itch and tremble. Your nostrils flare. You no longer know their name, but you know exactly how to use them. Careful not to spill the precious contents. You close the tin and slide it back into your pocket. Snort a worm! Oh, God! I will not snort a worm! I will be strong! Or try to. Kalaghat Anvor, shadows, Tabat. The memorialist regards you skeptically, as if he expects to be the butt of a joke. As he looks in your eyes, however, he softens. We live in a world of darkness. Isn't that trademarked? No. We live in a world of darkness, Pilgrim, and each of us is just a shadow of one of the great heroes buried here in this valley. But if there's a light that shines beyond the world, beyond the world. To know it, we shadows must measure ourselves against the heroes who cast us, and thus learn the light that lives beyond. He takes a swig from the canteen. I thought you set out on this pilgrimage to visit the tomb of Kalaghat Anvor because you were his shadow, that you wanted to stand before him and find enlightenment. Am I wrong? Are you his shadow or not? I don't know. The memorialist nods. That's how it is. I've met pilgrims who swore they were lords and ladies of old, but when they reached the grave, wept in shame. But I've also seen a novice stumble across her hero by a mere chance. If you find Kalaghat Anvor, you will know who you are or are not. I keep wanting to say armor when it hits Anvor. He gestures to the hilltop toward which you've been hiking. Just over that rise is the monument. As for his tomb, you said that the cenotaph would lead the way. I can't see how, but for the famous puzzle breaker of Sagas Cliffs, I'm sure it will be simple. Your mind still might still be clouded, but at least now the form of things has become clearer. Let's have a worm. No, we will not have a worm. Let's go. I want to see the cenotaph. As you follow the memorialist up the crumbling path, he carries on about a time when all the roads in the valley were as well paved as the streets of Sagas Cliffs. Then, reaching the hill crest, he falls into reverential silence. When you catch up, you see the sight that awed him even for the 1000th time. A clutch of exquisite monuments, ranging from vast to miniature, from abstract to eerily lifelike. The memorialist points to one of them, a many-sided slab of black stone, and gestures for you to follow. This must be the cenotaph of Kalaghat Anvor, Tabat general and would-be conqueror. Ah, nice. He's got symbols. Things carved in. Story being told, perhaps. It's like... Oh, that's interesting. Is this like day and night? Maybe? And... this looks like a descending bird of some kind? Oh, yeah, being ridden by someone. He's carrying a spear-like thing? Are these armies? Yes, so someone fighting on the back of a griffin-like creature, fighting an army of people, behind whom are a bunch of dead. Is it the same? Yeah, I think it's the same on all sides. Okay. Cool. But I note the perspective changes as you go around this thing. Different. Some depictions are wider than others, I guess here. Some are wider than others. And then these are these symbols running up and down. Could be something. Oh, it looks like the same image over and over again. So, is it a lizard? I always want them to be lizards. They may not be lizards. Actual lizards, not pictured. Okay. There are a bunch of these. Up close, the cenotaph is not so remarkable. Its faces are adorned with gruesome stylized reliefs depicting the Tabat and their Dragolith mounts trampling the corpses of their foes. Neat geometric glyphs encircle the panels. Like the images themselves, they are embossed rather than engraved. The memorialist clears his throat. Of course, Kalaghat Anvor isn't here. Like the other heroes, his body's in one of the cells in the catacombs beneath us. He nods at the monument. I think we've been to these catacombs. This is its own sort of shadow, all memorials are. Your guide mumbles something about the difference between expression, impression, and reality. Your attention returns to the cenotaph itself. Examine the images, study the glyphs, study the basin, snort a worm. Let's start with the images. No doubt some historian could tell the tale behind each panel. What doomed race the Tabat annihilated here. What grand battle was waged there. but to you they're just an ugly blur that tugs at shameful memories without ever quite dragging them to the surface. This is not the knowledge you came for. I think we found out a lot about this conflict in when we were in the labyrinth. There was like a flashback to a Tabat raid. It's, I think, still going on in the labyrinth. Because it's just sort of, that moment in time held there. On one side of the cenotaph, there's something else, an obscene picture crudely etched rather than raised. Its edges scorched black. Ah, graffiti. The memorialist clears his throat awkwardly. Graffiti from just after the Tabat were beaten. Carved with a plasma torch by a bitter nano. He coughs again. The visual pun on Black 3 must be obvious. Sadly, we can't possibly fix the damage. I like how it's like we can study things, and then, barring enlightenment, our last option is snort a worm. Study the glyphs. What seemed at first individual glyphs are far more complex, smaller symbols assembled into larger patterns, linked into chains, twined and twisted into knots. Never a tangle or ramble, it is more mathematical or scientific notation than language. Got it. Running your fingers across the glyphs, you see that they shine briefly under your touch, then fade. Perhaps there is a formula here to be solved, a structure, a higher hidden order to be found. Perhaps you could catch glimpses of the Tabat's military mastery. But the sieve of your mind holds nothing, and any secrets slip right through. As you struggle to decipher the symbols, the memorialist hurries over. This one means war, he says, illuminating a cluster repeated endlessly on the cenotaph. This one, death. He picks out others and shows how the ideogram for soldier weaves into warband, which can in turn mesh into column or army. Excitement grows in his voice as he leads you to another panel and shows you the unique markings that compose the pattern for underspine. A high council, we think, or god. He notes what seems to be a structure to the writing, a pattern within the pattern. Could it be a puzzle to open the way to Kalaghat Anvor? He asks expectantly. You have no answer for his hopes. Study the basin. Carved into the cenotaph. Ooh, you're right. There is stuff down there. Carved into the cenotaph's plinth. Plinth is a good word. Carved into the cenotaph's plinth is a wide, shallow bowl. Perfectly smooth, perfectly ovoid. In its center is a small drain that runs into the monument. Yeah. Around its rim is a geometric pattern, simple and composed of a single recurrent shape. Yeah. You recognize the symbol. Blood! Of course, it could be nothing else. Yep, that's definitely the sacrifice in Nook. Your guide keeps back from the basin as you examine it and shares no thoughts. We could... Plinth, the opposite of a capstone, in a word so few actually know. Yeah. So we could try a glyph sequence. We could spill some blood in the basin. We could sacrifice the memorialist. It's like, here, I want you to show me something. What's that there? Look real close now. So let's see. Or we could have a worm, Let's take another look at the glyphs before we try to find the right sequence. War, blood, battle, death. These symbols are graven in your mind just as they are on the cenotaph, but you can squeeze no more meaning from memory than you can from the stone. Well, we're going to try to find the right sequence before we go bleeding in the basin. You trick yourself into thinking that you can crack whatever code the stone holds, but neither logic nor luck makes any headway. The glyphs shine and fade, but nothing happens. Given the endless combinations, not even the persistence you had of old could break through this lock. Alright. Sure we can't try again? Take another look. You can try again. Once again, you guess at possible series of glyphs that might provoke some reaction with the cenotaph. Is there is a key? You do not find it. Alright, let's spill a little blood. I feel like it's going to end up with one worm in this sequence. Yeah, probably. Beneath your guide's worried gaze, you nick your wrist and drizzle some blood into the bowl. Nothing comes of it. Whatever flows through your veins will not slake the stone's thirst. So, let's see. We can either have a worm, or we can sacrifice the memorialist. Let's see. No, I will not give in to my addiction. I will commit homicide instead. So, addiction, homicide. Addiction, homicide. It's such a great choice. Let's have a worm. They included the sound effect. That's very considerate of them. Can we look at the memorialist sideways first? Yeah. Hey. You got what, about 4 quarts of blood in you? Huh? That's a lot of blood. You sure you're using all that? Oh my god. Gripping a grub between 2 fingers, you slip it into your nostril and breathe as deeply as you can. I am reminded of, I can't remember anymore. I can't remember. There's the exactly what it is, but I got to go back and find it now. I guess there's this episode of Technical Difficulties. It's a comedy podcast that hasn't been out lately, but it's still up there on the web. Where it's like there's this thing where someone hands someone someone very very obviously is trying to give someone a drink. And it's like or pretend, offering to just, and so it's something like, would you care for a snort? Don't mind if I do. That's basically the sound that happens next. I'm having a flashback to that and cackling internally. Let's see. The worm works with you, eager to reach its meal. That's good. You feel it squirm the last stretch, and then pain like a knife stabs your brain, and you know the worm is eating gray matter and pissing neurostimulants, letting your mind reconquer the vast territories it has lost. Nematodes! That's what they're called, not worms! Nematodes was on the tip of my tongue. And cerulean, that's the sky's color, not blue. The rush of understanding overwhelms you. You read the world's unwritten words, devise stratagems, unravel mysteries. Your brain races with the speed brought on by the worm's piss, and through your thoughts run the Tabat symbols, spinning, twisting, combining, and dividing. There is a meaning here, tangled amid the knotted glyphs. And your mind is unraveling it, surely, but not fast enough! Your thoughts become painfully, shamefully slow. And the puzzle you felt so close to breaking now seems impregnable. Another worm. Just one more, and your mind, honed like a sword, will slice through the skeins. You're sure of it. So sure of it, you find yourself sniffing in anticipation. A predator on the scent. Oh, God! Come on! If there's a key, you don't find it. Alright, one more worm. Another worm and the cenotaph's puzzle crumbles before you. It seems so simple now, so obvious. A prayer woven within the story, a prayer of submission to the truth of war and blood and death. You need but touch the glyphs, and the way will open before you. Try to find the correct sequence of glyphs. Your finger, I know, right? Just one more. Your fingers race across the glyphs, which now do not fade as you progress. Rather, with each touch, they grow brighter and brighter. You can hear the excited gasp from your guide as you reach the last side of the cenotaph. With a flourish, you press the final symbols. The skein ends in war, of course. Of course! Why? Why didn't we see that before? Blue light! Is that cerulean light or blue light? We must be specific here. What shade of blue is it? Is it periwinkle? Periwinkle light pours forth from the cenotaph, forming a kind of shimmering portal. Through it, you see hints of a room. His tomb, whispers the memorialist. A smile sneaks onto your face as you see the way before you. Let me look at the portal. Some sort of room bathed in blue light lies beyond the portal. The tomb of Kalaghat Anvor, it would seem. The knowledge you seek awaits within. Maybe we could stop for a worm. No, we're going to go through. You step toward the wavering energy field and stare at the blue-tinged tomb beyond. The resting place of Kalaghat Anvor, the memorialist remains at a respectful distance. I will pray that your hero awaits within, pilgrim, and that you find enlightenment at his side. Tarrying no longer, you plunge through. Ah! Oh, hell no. Is that what I think it is? Let's see. Is that another of those damn chambers? Like the one we started in? It's not quite shaped the same, obviously, so perhaps not. Let's see. The tomb's walls are bare stone, as is its floor. In fact, the room is empty, except for the sarcophagus that sits at its center, a crystalline Numenera that hums with ancient, indefatigable energy. Bathed in the portal's light, the room feels almost underwater, a sensation heightened by the air's unnatural weight. Study the sarcophagus, or alternatively, we could have another worm. Let's study the sarcophagus. The sarcophagus is divided into three parts: a wide bier, an elongated pentagonal coffin, and a curved lens-like lid. Okay. The bier is decorated with familiar glyphs. You recognize war and death and purity among them. But these designs hold little interest. They are just catchwords, and they will teach you nothing of the Tabat genius. The coffin, for its part, is a single hunk of milky aquamarine. Its lid is less opaque, and through it you can see the corpse's silhouette. Most importantly, you notice a simple locking mechanism holding the two together. Opening the sarcophagus would be a straightforward matter. One little thing I want to do here. I just want to remember, just adding to the, just adding a little to the content warning, just so that's just adding drug use. That appears to be on the table now here. Okay. And now we shall open the sarcophagus, or try to. A few twists of the coffin's cylindrical locks, and the lid rises up with a hiss of icy, age-old air. As the mist clears, you see, at last, the face of Kalaghat Anvor. You feel nothing at the sight of him, never having known the terror of his triumvirate. His inhuman features are slightly mummified, but well preserved. His ebon tabard is faded with time, that even the sarcophagus could not keep at bay. But it is his head that matters, not his clothes. His head, and its brain, and the insight sheathed within, an edge keen enough to cut through the tangle of your own failures. Yes! Let's solve our problem by co-opting someone else's brain. Yeah, I know. We're just waiting to get that list of warnings up there. So we could use the mind link on the Tabat corpse, or alternatively, we could have another worm. You know, it's been a while since we've had a worm. We could have another worm, but no, we shall use the mind link because that is what we are here for. Presumably. Let's see if it messes us up just as much as the worms do. Ah! I do love that the option to snort a worm is always there whether you need it or not. It's just nuts, man. It's an accurate reflection. This is fascinating. And also pretty. Once you slip the helmet over your face, you can't see and can barely breathe. Trapped in the mask's damp darkness, you fumble for the socket at the base of the corpse's skull. At last you find it, and still struggling, try to bring the conduit tube into contact. Suddenly, the darkness explodes with light. The nebulous patchwork glow of your own mind, and beyond it, the glorious mandala, formed by the thoughts of Kalaghat Anvor. A mote emerges from that pattern, and a confused voice whispers, "You are not of the Underspire." Almost instantly, the geometry of his mind transforms into a star fortress from whose bastions dagger-like shapes stream forth. Ooh! You will not taint my thoughts, the Tabat voice rumbles as his fleet soars toward you. There's no time to try and reason with him, if that would ever be possible. It seems madness that he fears you could pollute his mind. When merely fending off his force shall be at the limits of your worm-wasted will. Mount your own attack. You came here to hone your mind, and perhaps this is the way to do so. Fend him off. You came here to rebuild your mind, not to offer it up for Tabat pillaging. Let him in. You came here to fill the vast gaps in your mind, and perhaps this would be the swiftest way. Huh. What, no fourth choice? In the mindscape, there are no tins full of worms. Okay. Yes, this is an interesting... This is an interesting idea. I don't know. I think we're gonna... I'm very tempted to let him in. Fill the gaps in your mind. But fending him off... Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's at least no worms. Fend him off. You came here to rebuild your mind, not to offer it up for Tabat pillaging. These are all interesting options. I'm going to try fending him off. I feel like that's kind of where we're sort of heading, but this would be an interesting option as well. Well, let's try it. You knit shut the ragged fringes of your mind, focusing and contracting yourself into a tight, hard core bound by its will to live. The cutting thoughts of Kalaghat Anvor flash at the perimeter of your defenses, probing, testing, seeking entry, but to no avail. At length they withdraw to the Tabat's own pattern. For now, you are safe. Okay. The texture of the general's mind ripples as he arranges his thoughts, absorbs what his scouts have scraped from your mind. At last, like a messenger, a sphere splits off from the pattern and floats before you. Pilgrim, the word is spat out. I have seen the secrets you keep from yourself, the endless battle you meant to end, and the red wreckage your solution left behind. I am unmoved. I killed more, lost more, and fell farther without surrendering the truth. The sphere shimmers and flattens into a kind of mirror. You have come because you would prove yourself again, through me, by me. The thought floats slowly backward, but I am not your underspine. Attack his mind and plunger his knowledge. Attempt to break the mind link. Oh, no, still no worms. study his mind would be interesting. What is the Underspire? I'm going to study his mind. The Underspine. You see a wide crescent of Urael Reavers. Urael Reavers? Urael Reavers. I don't think... Let's find out if this is a word. And now it's... And now it's curiosity time. It's coming up in reference to the Ninth World. Monsters of Numenera. Okay, it's a creature. It's a creature in Numenera. All right. So, is there a picture? Okay, yeah, in the Ninth World Guidebook, apparently there is a Urael. And I'm kind of looking at it right now. And it looks kind of like a centaur. It's sort of a bluish purple with some kind of sort of golden armor, and a thing that is sort of a curved polearm looking thing. It is kind of hunched over forward. It's back of its about where the nape of its neck would be. It's sort of its head just sort of lolls forward from that point. It's interesting. It has 3 legs. Rather than the 4 that a centaur would. Interesting. Okay. Anyway, there's a wide crescent of those things. They are Reavers. They are ready to sweep down on an outnumbered, but unfazed band of Tabat scouts. You know they will fight free because Anvor knew it then, before the battle even began. You see the city of Sagas Cliffs rising above the plains like a beacon, a treasure, a false icon to be smashed to pieces. In the depths of the general's mind, jagged, violent thoughts seem to be mustering as if for war. At the moment, they are scattered and in some disarray. What's the Underspine? What did you see in me? I want to learn the trick of Tabat warfare. I want you to fill the emptiness in my mind. Or, I'm going to take all your stuff. Or we're not doing this anymore. What is the Underspine? Kalaghat Anvor's mind grows still, with faint flashes of contemplation flickering across its surface. The guardian of the Tabat soul, his mind darkens and storms. To use your words befouls the meaning of my thoughts. It is obscene that you call this tongue truth. That is the name of the language in the Ninth World, the truth. That's what it's called. Silence. Then, the Underspine is a filter through which our minds flow, cleansing us of distraction, subversion, novelty, and doubt. The darkness dances to the edges of his will. You cannot comprehend. Well, not if you're going to be that vague about it. What did you see in me? His mind ripples with amusement. Fear, vanity, weakness, deceit. There is a long silence. It is your duty to know yourself and to be yourself. A thin silver sliver. Silver sliver, say that 3 times fast. Of thought shoots out from his mind and stabs into your own. It is an image, a battlefield strewn with countless corpses and shattered war machines. A regal woman stands beside you, rigid with rage. Puzzle breaker indeed, she sneers. The image, be it memory or Tabat deception, fades away, and Kalaghat Anvor offers no more. Aha! Joke's on you, I'm too high to recognize that scene. I've had too many worms. I want to learn the trick of Tibet warfare. I guess we'll try that. A purple ripple runs across the mind of Kalaghat Anvor, and you feel the harsh rasp of Tibet laughter. The weak-willed and degenerate always dream that the great prevail by tricks or cheats or chance. Yeah. His thoughts array themselves in interlinked chains of blue and black. But war disabuses tricksters of their vanity. Failure falls upon those proved false by battle, and victory is the stamp of truth. The chains stretch and run throughout the patterns of his mind. We did not master deceit or even war. We mastered our own authentic selves. We triumphed by philosophy, not strategy. Yeah, okay. Your kind has been wiped out. No, tell me more about your philosophy. A small cube of ideas detaches from the pattern of the general's mind and unfolds before you. In all systems, the variable is subordinate to the constant. The measures of things must be fixed. Lines of thought stab out from the unfolded eidolon, probing your mind like outriders. You do not comprehend. Variable subordinate to the constant? How do you know that? In all systems, does chaos not have its... No, well, never mind. The eidolon rearranges itself into a pyramid. When one stands at the utmost peak of the highest mountain, an advance is no better than a retreat. All change is decline. Yeah, that's assuming that you're standing where you think you're standing. Again, he probes, and again you are found wanting. To not fall, one must say, there is no more ascent. Here I stay. Many have so spoken, but the Tibet alone spoke truly, resisting the vanity of progress. Yeah, screw progress. Your kind has been wiped out. Tell me more about your philosophy. Given the sudden jagged configuration of his mind, Anvor seems affronted by your question. At last, he sends forth a sphere in answer. The Conqueror's sword flexes. Flexes. The Conqueror's sword flexes, but always straightens to its proper form. The sphere shimmers and turns golden. All great peoples have found mighty truths, but always they let their truths mingle with falsehoods and frivolity, until their folkways become fractious, friable. Friable? I assume we're not talking about frying pans here. Once again, we must look up this word because I want to learn words. I cannot stop myself. I must find out the words. Easily crumbled.
Friable.
Friable, okay. The soil was friable between her fingers. Okay. Man. So many concepts to learn. This was so much easier with just the worms. Anyway. Okay. All great peoples have found mighty truths, but always they let their truths mingle with falsehood and frivolity until their folkways become fractious, friable. We alone held to our truth with unflinching conviction. I mean, yeah, it's assuming that you can understand the difference between falsehood and frivolity and, new information. Perhaps I can understand why their kind was wiped out. The sphere stretches into a toroid. Good God, more words. We're going to open up... Welcome to the dictionary cast. In mathematics, a toroid is a surface of revolution with a hole in the middle like a donut, forming a solid body. The axis of revolution passes through the hole and so does not intersect the surface. Oh, okay, it's like a torus. A toroid is that kind of... Okay, yes, gotcha, okay. The torus is a shape into which... That falls into the category of toroid. Interesting. Interesting. And they as examples, they keep showing like a circular thing with wires coiled around it in a pattern. Okay. The sphere stretches into one of those. The sphere turns into a donut. Words, faith, art. All was held pure and unchanging within the underspine. A perfect, eternal purpose spanning all generations. What can stand before such united trust? Entropy, I think, can, but, you know. Tell me more about your philosophy. Would you like to know more? Click yes. Dark wedges wheel themselves into a wall, shielding the inner citadel of the general's mind. You are not fit to know more of our thoughts. You would warp them in your twisted vessel, or else your mind would burst in trying to contain them. There is no way to pierce the barrier he has raised, and it is clear his mind will not be changed. Study his mind again. You see a city underground, the tunnel walls and vaulting chambers adorned with carvings of fallen enemies. You see battles, endless battles, the memories sorted with meticulous care, conjoined by formations employed. Foes faced, weapons wielded, terrain accommodated. It seems a catalogue without end. In the depths of the general's mind, jagged, violent thoughts seem to be mustering as if for war. It is a vast force, enough to encircle your own mind completely. More battles, bloodshed and butchery flash before you. In the depths of the general's mind, jagged, violent thoughts. Anything else? No, this is going to be the same. So we can goad him, saying that his kind has been wiped out, or we could just ask, I want you to fill the emptiness in my mind. Well, we can try, yeah. We'll see if we can get a reaction out of him here. As you tell the Tabat general of his kind's demise, the geometric perfection of his thoughts fractures for a moment, not quite into chaos or organic shapes, but into sharp shards that cannot quite reform. Some of these needles jab into your own mind, probing, confirming that you tell the truth. I see, Anvor answers. Eventually the fragments of his mind reform, though the ranks of its guardians seem thinned. At least they are safe from the corruption of change. To be frozen forever in cold death is a better fate than the seamy, teeming welter of your city. I would like you to fill the emptiness in my mind, please. I'm requesting a refill on this brain. Is this the window we come to get refills? For our brains? Brain refills? I need to know. The general's mind darkens. Its defenses harden. Conquest holds its own doom. The risk is too great. Then I'll ask you again. Join me. Bright flashes race through the pathways of his mind as it forms and reforms in myriad shapes and patterns. At last, a single word. Yes. The pattern breaks, and its fragments, jagged and disjointed, ricochet across the darkness, crashing into your mind. You feel the terror that has gripped him, the fierce imperative to stand against the outright obliteration of his race, whatever the price. You sense the contempt in which he holds you, mingled with a grudging knowledge that there will come no better chance. And then there is no more you, and no more Anvor, only a madcap image assembled from two puzzles, jumbled together. Only that and the darkness beyond. Oh! There is one who slips off the Mind Link's mask and staggers out of the Tabat's tomb. You are not that one, but you are in it. not as some fraction or separate self, but as an indivisible part of a plural whole. The newborn one looks with newly opened eyes at the sky, and limes it with newfound words, words exquisite in their precision, blues beyond blue. Nice, that is fascinating. I'm always interested in stories involving mental separation of identity or a combination of identities and things like that. Well, there we go. That was very interesting. That's much to think about.
Yes. Now.
I'm going to save the game again. Whilst I contemplate this experience. So I got to make a decision. If I want to go on for a little bit. I haven't been here for quite an hour and a half, but it's getting closer to that. And I probably need to do lunch sometime. Today, sometime within I need to start lunch probably within the next half hour. It'll be a while before I can actually consume said lunch, for there is cooking involved. But after the mirrors. But no, it's just something to think about, right? So I have to kind of decide if I want to do a little bit more in here, or if I just want to leave that as is for this session. It's a good question. Let me take a look at my quests here real quick. I have heard food is good for you. Apparently, you're supposed to have some every day. See, there's stuff to do in the labyrinth. It's a good question, because if I go into the labyrinth, then I will basically be sending Eritis home, probably. And, we will no longer have him if we get into a fight. And there's still a couple of maws we need to go through. That said, I mean, I am guessing that if there's one more big fight, it's going to be with the Sorrow again, and that's probably going to come at the end, if that is what happens. There's going to be a confrontation with the Sorrow, I think, probably. If that's the case, I don't know if anyone, I don't know if it's going to matter who we have to stand against it. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna try to do this.
Fair enough.
So there are two ways to get into the labyrinth, I think, in this room. One way involves drinking from that pool.
Happy to help.
I think the other way might be asking this person to kill him. Either way, a little precaution. He's not actually. Oh, I already took the liberty of relieving him of all of his items. Okay. we were ready for this. I want to challenge you to combat. I want you to kill me. I think if I challenge him to combat, then there's like some sort of achievement I can get. I'm not really interested in fighting him. Do I get an object that I can sell? I don't know. I'm gonna try this. I want you to kill me. This is not the first time I have heard such words from a mortal. Perhaps I represent an easy death, a quick release for those who desire it, but I must disappoint you as I did the others. I will fight those who I deem a challenge, but I will not kill without purpose. Alright. There are some more options here. Let me go ahead and say this. Do you know where I can find any maws, first of all? I don't know if we already were. Yeah. In this particular cavern of flesh, if a maw was lurking nearby, I would have sensed its birth. Yeah, not here. I saw another construct that looks like you in the house of Iaksu, not far from here. The last of my sibling comrades, yes. I am aware of its presence in the Tinkerer's house. Multicolored lights flash from the construct's head in quick and agitated succession. We came to this place together, two brothers in arms, seeking respite from the unrelenting memories that tormented us both. But he chose a path different from mine. A different path? The Tinkerer put his hands in my sibling comrade's brain, pulled the memories out, and with them the mind and the thoughts and the means to think. Now my brother in arms is a gutted shell, a scarecrow, standing in the Tinkerer's house to frighten off the Raven men. Thus has he found peace. The last word is barely a hiss filled with contempt. Is that so different from what you seek? What are you again? It is. The resonant voice is strong and certain. I seek to forget my past and start again. In that possibility, no matter how remote, there is hope. To leave behind this warrior's life that my makers chose for me. For my brother in arms, there is no hope at all. Okay, that's cool. Combat? Nah. A series of lights flash beneath the construct's faceplate, but it makes no audible reply. Okay, we'll just do this the old-fashioned way. I'm gonna go ahead and resave it, having had that little conversation. Yes. Gaze into the toroid. Okay. Okay. I guess it's labyrinth time. Drink of the fluid. Take another sip of the yellowish water, and again the voices of the bloom fill your mind, dulling your thoughts and reflexes. Drink more of the fluid. Again, you raise the yellow fluid to your lips. It's clear the effects of your last drink still haven't worn off, and imbibing more of the fluid is likely to make things even worse. Drink the fluid anyway! You take another long drink of the yellow water. The Bloom's voices grow louder still, drowning out your thoughts, chittering madly in your ears. The world blurs. You stumble and collapse to the ground, and everything goes dark.
Can't die.
Spend XP to advance your characters. XP is gained mostly from solving quests, but can also be gained by making discoveries.
All right.
I'm back. Okay, we got a chat. This is of import. Here, I will save again so I don't have to go through all that again. Eventually, one day, I will save the game. Alright. We're experiencing time. Hello, Oom's pale, glowing, flower-like eyes widen or unfold as you approach. Can't you tell me anything else about what you are? Bare branch tree beneath the rain. I have to speak to him again. I saw a vision of the person being from the. We talked to them. Why has this been set back? Huh. Do we have to... I know we talked to the person. So, like, either there's a bug or there's something happened with, or something happened with my save games or something, where I restored at the wrong time or something and ended up undoing it. Okay. Let's see. So that involves heading back out, going to the, going to Little Neeliesh and talking to the person that was released from the portal inside the person about the tides, and then running back and doing this again. Which, let's see, do I have the energy to do this? Do I?
Yes.
Yes? And then there's talking to these folks, which I'd forgotten about. And then there's talking to these folks, and then there's going in and talking to Eratis, and you know, figuring stuff out there, dealing with that finally. You know what? Yeah, we are at a point that I think I'm actually going to go ahead and save it for next time, so that apparently I got rewound here. I'll go ahead and I'll start it up, though. I'll start it up. I'm going to go back to the outside world here. And I will go and I will talk to the person and run back so that I will be set to enter the labyrinth upon my return. So we're going to go ahead and reload that so we can just be back there without being bloom juiced or injured or whatever. Bonded items are a special type of equipment that inflict penalties alongside powerful bonuses. Training in the concentration skill allows you to shrug off those penalties. Interesting. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and at least head over and talk to the guy again, because apparently a thing didn't happen.
Let's go.
That is interesting. I didn't know that about bonded items. Let us head over here. Wonder if we can get the same effect by drinking out of that pool. Maybe.
Here comes the boredom slayer. Fine.
One is curious.
To action.
Okay. Hey. Questions. What'd you do to me again? I made it easier for you to sense and control the tides and other people. Don't worry about paying me, my pockets don't work. Huh. Is it a bug? We went ahead and improved our tidal affinity. So we did do it. But talking to doesn't yield anything. Unless he has to be in our party or something. Yeah, okay. I think that... sorry, I've been talking while muted. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of research some stuff in the meantime. I think we're going to go ahead and just call it now. And research some things and try to figure out if there's a bug or if I just haven't... I haven't done something. And so We'll sort that out. We'll sort that out. Hopefully, with any luck. and we'll kind of go from there. Thank you all very much for watching. I very much appreciate it. The thing I really appreciate about this game and that we got to see a decent amount of is just the sheer amount of lore that goes into it, and the wealth of wealth and depth of description that you get. The imagery is fantastic that they provide, even just when they're just, you know, giving you words on a page. So it's really neat, and I really enjoy that about this game and about the Ninth World in general, because that's kind of that was a big deal. That's, you know, that was a major thing. The aesthetic is a major thing about Numenera overall. So it's very cool. I really like it. So I'll go ahead and figure this out, and then hopefully next week I'll be able to do more. But in the meantime, what do we have happening? So on Monday, I do nothing. On Tuesday, however, we have our Urban Shadows campaign, Lex Talionis, that takes place in present-day Rome. We are going to be coming to a stopping point, actually, after this next session, and then we're going to go on hiatus for a few weeks, and then we'll come back and do sort of a second season to finish everything up. As that game just sort of stretched out like taffy. I didn't expect that. Should have, didn't. Just between just the different things that happened with scheduling, and then with various other things that went on, just sort of plot-wise as a reaction to things that I did to try to get things back up to speed. As a result of it, I was like, okay, well, we're here now. I'll go ahead and throw this in that I have ready, and so everything sort of just branches out. So we'll see. But then on Wednesday, we have the continuation of our campaign of Scum and Villainy that we just started. We're going to have our first RP session that's going to happen with our various characters as we are in space in this very strange ship that has adopted us, and trying to do various jobs while all that's going on, and we have various factions who want the ship. It's a very cool sort of scenario I think we've come up with, and so I'm very eager to play with it. Also, generally on Wednesdays-ish, I've been trying to do Cities Skylines. That wasn't the case last week because I had stuff get in the way. This week, I should say, this past week, so I did it. I did that yesterday instead. We'll see if the schedule holds or if I end up shifting things around. And then, of course, Friday we do more of this. I have more stuff in the works. I'm just trying to get the various gears and rotors moving. It is a slow process, trying to ramp back up to having a bunch of stuff going on. So we will see how things go. But yeah, there's more stuff coming. Just gotta figure it out schedule-wise. But that is it. That is it for today. Thank you all very much for watching. I very much appreciate it. Take care, folks, and I will see you all of a sudden.